Have you ever been in a so-called negative emotion and not wanted anyone to cheer you up or not wanted to cheer yourself up? Even though you know that you have tools, you know that there are things available that could help. Have you ever just not wanted to feel better? Maybe you're in anxiety or fear or doubt, worry, anger, and you just want to feel it. And then perhaps you're judging yourself for that. And you're like, gosh, this is not cool. I need to fix this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. And just kind of spinning out in the judgment and the self-criticism and the shame about really just wanting to wallow in your emotions. If you've ever had this experience, I can relate. And I want to share with you 3 reasons that this can happen and what you can do to be in the experience of the emotions and start to shift out of it, even though you don't want to do a spiritual bypass, you don't want to ignore the feelings, right? How you can move the energy naturally, organically, and easily. So I'm in the middle of a series on universal laws and the so-called negative emotions. And if that's a topic that interests you, definitely check out the playlist. I'll link to it in the description below. But let's talk specifically about why we sometimes just want to wallow in these emotions. So the first thing is that it feels really good to be honest with ourselves. It feels really good to just surrender and be authentic and honest with what we're feeling. So if we've been sort of battling against an emotion and trying to keep it in, then it's such a relief to just be honest about what we're feeling, to be in the authenticity and the integrity of the emotion, right? And if that emotion has just been building and wants to move and wants to flow, then it can feel like such a relief. Even if it feels bad, there's an element of it that also feels good because it's like, finally, I can just stop battling this and let it be what it wants to be. So that's the first piece. The second piece is sometimes we just want to wallow because our nervous systems are accustomed to being in a state of agitation. So if we've had heightened nervous systems for a long time, if we've been in dysregulation, then there is something oddly comforting about staying in dysregulation. It's familiar, therefore there's an element of feeling safe or secure. It's like, okay, if I'm already agitated, if I'm already braced for impact, then if something happens, then it can't derail me. It can't bowl me over because I'm already heightened, right? I'm already agitated. I'm already angry. I'm already worried. But if we're calm, if we're in peace, if our nervous system is chill, then we're vulnerable, right? There's that feeling of, oh my gosh, something could come in and take that peace away from me. And that is a trauma response. So that heightened hypervigilance, let me stay agitated, is actually oddly comforting. The third thing is many of us are dopamine seeking. And so there is actually a lot of dopamine in the experience of having an emotion and having to deal with the emotion. It's oddly entertaining to have to solve this problem, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, I'm angry. Why am I angry? What's wrong with me? I have to figure out how to not be angry, but I want to be angry. And that's weird. Why do I want to be angry? What's wrong with me? And we're judging ourselves and the shame and all of that, right? It creates this whole internal drama. And if we're seeking dopamine, then all of that internal drama, or maybe it's causing external drama as well, right? If we're spewing our emotions all over everybody around us, then all of that creates all kinds of dopamine that, again, feels good, even though it's coming from that negative feeling there's that element that feels like a relief. It feels good. Like there's this thing that we needed. We needed the dopamine, and here we are resourcing it for ourselves through this inner turmoil. So I think when we just know this and we recognize this, then we can drop the story, we can drop the judgment, we can drop the shame, and we can say, okay, I'm feeling this emotion, but I don't have to judge myself for that emotion. I'm feeling that emotion and I actually want to stay in that emotion. I want to wallow and be present and just really feel deeply into that emotion. And it's okay that I want to do that. It's okay that I don't want anybody to cheer me up. It's okay that I just want to be stuck here for now. I don't have to fix it. I'm not broken. I can just be present with what I'm actually feeling. And then we can get curious about what we're feeling. If we say, okay, so am I open to the possibility that maybe there's something about this that feels good? Maybe there's something about wallowing in this or staying stuck in this emotion that feels oddly good. What would it be? Am I nervous about it letting myself feel better? Am I nervous about being vulnerable by feeling better? Am I feeling like there's this dopamine rush, that it's actually helping fuel me in some way if I stay in this state of agitation? Does it just feel good to be honest with myself and to not have to stuff my emotions, but to actually feel them? What is it about this that actually feels congruent and oddly satisfying? Why don't I want anyone to cheer me up? Could it be one of these things? I'm not wrong for that. I don't have to judge myself, but I can be interested and curious. What is it about this that feels oddly satisfying? And then as we start to tune in, we can say, okay, what am I feeling in my body? What am I noticing that the sensation of this emotion is giving me? Okay, how am I feeling in my chest? How am I feeling in my shoulders, in my neck? What am I feeling? What is this sensation of this emotion all about? Does it feel like my body wants to move or wants to change my breath? Is there anything that wants to feel different? Again, just witnessing, not judging, but just witnessing, dropping the story, just having love and compassion as though you were a little child that you love. Like, okay, here's this child that is having these big emotions and wants to have a tantrum, doesn't want anyone to convince them that they shouldn't have a tantrum. They just want to feel it and feel it fully. And can you be that loving witness for yourself that lets you have that emotion in a healthy, constructive way, where you can help guide those emotions in a healthy, constructive way, rather than trying to spiritually bypass them or trying to distract yourself away from them, rather than being like, okay, I have these tools to cheer myself up. I'm gonna stuff the emotions. I'm gonna watch a comedy. I'm gonna call a friend. Those are all great things, but sometimes we're not ready for those. Sometimes we just need to feel what we're feeling from a place of non-judgment, not making it wrong, not making it mean that we're going to manifest something awful, but actually just being present with ourselves and what we're feeling. Not making anybody else responsible for our feelings, not making anybody else having to necessarily participate in our feelings, right? So we're not like just being angry all over everybody, right? That we're actually being responsible for ourselves and teaching ourselves how to have big emotions in a mature way, which I think for a lot of us, we never learned how to do. So the idea is, if we can drop the story, drop the judgment, drop the shame, and just recognize, hey, I'm having this emotion. It feels awful, but there's also something about it that feels oddly comforting. And so I just want to be in this emotion right now. And I can be present to it, and I don't have to make myself wrong. I don't have to scare myself or create a lot of story. I can just witness it and be neutral to it. And then I can ask myself, what do I need in this moment? What do I need? What is this emotion seeking? what do I need? What do I want? And can that emotion actually guide you? Can it actually help you understand what need is not being fulfilled? Can it help lead you into the direction of your vision, into what it is you want to express, into the aspect of yourself that you want to embrace? And just notice, like I always put hand on heart if that's helpful for you. Just closing your eyes if that helps, feel hand on heart, and just tuning in to that inner wisdom, saying, okay, I'm watching myself have all of this emotion. Is there anything that I need right now? Is there anything that would help me really fully be present to myself? Not to change myself, not to change this emotion, but to just be present to myself, to be present to the sensations that I'm feeling, to drop the story about this emotion, to drop the story about everything that I think caused this emotion in terms of the story of why I'm mad, how I'm mad, who I'm mad at. If I dropped all of that just for a moment and was just present with the anger, what does the anger feel like in my body? Do I feel the energy rising and coming up? What does that feel like? Is there any way that I want to express that in a healthy, constructive way? Right? And recognize, witness, notice what your intuition is guiding you towards. Maybe you want to move your body. Maybe you want to get out in nature. Maybe you want to scream. Maybe you want to do a silent scream, right? Where you just get yourself in that posture and you scream with your whole body, but you just don't let any sound out. But just really asking yourself, what do you need right now? You want to wallow in this? Let's wallow in it. I'm going to let you be in this. I'm not going to make you wrong. But what do you need to be able to fully embrace this emotion? And as you notice that, ask yourself if you're willing to follow that guidance. And you'll know it's your intuition when that guidance leads you to more love, more light, more truth. Your intuition is never going to lead you to doing anything that would hurt anybody else, right? It's always about how you can be more authentically you and how you can align to the law of more life for all. So it might mean feeling that emotion, grounding yourself, coming out of that cycle, letting that energy transform, and then having a difficult conversation with somebody that you care about, right? There's always the opportunity to do the work with ourselves first, to recognize what need is not being met, what is being triggered here. And then as I process that for myself with love and compassion and acceptance and non-judgment, then after that is shifted within ourselves, then we can see what conversation may need to happen with somebody else. When we're clear of all of that extra energy, right? And we're really back to center. So to summarize, it's really recognizing, okay, I'm feeling this emotion and I don't want to shift it. I want to just be in it. And if I want to be in it, then that's for good reason. It's for good reason. There is something here for me to harvest. There is good for me here. What is it? What am I seeking? What am I needing that I need to receive from this moment instead of trying to talk myself out of it or trying to shame myself or make myself bad or wrong? If I'm in this emotion, what's here for me? Does it feel good just to be honest with myself? Am I getting dopamine from this experience when really maybe there's another way that I'd like to support my dopamine, right? Maybe going for a walk in nature, maybe listening to some good music, right? What am I getting from this? Am I getting nervous system dysregulation because that feels oddly comforting? What am I getting from this? And if we can recognize what we're getting, then we can ask ourselves, okay, is there another place where I would rather have this need met for myself? Do I still want to wallow in this emotion? Or if I'm looking for dopamine, how would I rather get dopamine right now? Is there something else I would rather do to be able to conjure up all of that good feeling dopamine? What else would I like to do? How could I do that in a positive way? A way that feels even better, right? So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Again, like really just witnessing, not making ourselves wrong, but just witnessing ourselves, loving ourselves, being willing to accept ourselves and have compassion. And as we do that, everything shifts, everything opens up and expands. And that is high vibe, right? No matter what, if we're being in integrity with ourselves, or being honest, we're being open, being willing to see ourselves with compassion and love and acceptance, even when we're angry, that's pretty high vibe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.